Здравствуйте, дорогие десятиклассники! Сегодня на уроке с вами буду я, Табулова Фатима Леоновна, учитель английского языка, гимназии номер 13, город Черкесск. Today we are going to speak about non-finite verb forms, phrases with the infinitive. Why? Why did I choose this theme? Because it is the only theme left undone in this textbook. So let's start. After our classes, after completing the lesson, our lesson today, we will be able to do the following: to distinguish finite and non-finite forms of the verb, then to list the kinds of non-finite verbs, to identify finite and non-finite verbs in the given sentences, and to use phrases with the infinitive, to use these phrases. Non-finite forms of the verb. The verb has two forms: non-finite, finite, that is личные. Finite forms, личные формы, and non-finite forms, неличные. And sometimes they are called verbals. What is the difference between these two forms? The first ones express person, number, and tense. Such grammatical categories as person, number, and tense. And as for the non-finite forms, they don't express person, number, and tense. Therefore, they cannot be used in the sentences as predicate. They can be only the part of predicates or predicatives. Non-finite forms or verbals, they are divided into three parts: the past, the participle, the gerund, the infinitive. Неличных форм глаголов в английском языке три группы: причастие, герундий, инфинитив. The Russian language have the same non-finite forms of the verb, but they are a little different from the English ones. В русском языке есть такие же тоже незаконченные, неличные формы глагола. Это причастие, деепричастие и инфинитив. Немного не похожи на английские неличные формы. So the difference between the finite verbs and verbals. Verbs have different forms because an action such as dancing or any action, playing, dancing, singing, can be described in different ways. Verbals don't show actions. Чем же отличаются они? Тем, что личные глаголы имеют возможность, имеют способность описывать какие-то действия. Слово dancing мы взяли, dance, танцевать. А неличные формы глагола не могут описывать эти действия. Verbals don't show actions. Неличные формы глагола не показывают никаких действий. So pay attention to the finite verbs. Jack is dancing. One form. Jack dances. Another form. There is one more form. Jack danced. Jack must dance. Jack is going to dance. Jack will dance. Pay attention. A lot of forms. The verb has a lot of forms. As for the participle, pay attention to it. Participle has only such form: dancing. It is formed with the help of the suffix ing. Dance plus ing, and we get dancing. Dancing is participle one. It is translated танцующий. The gerund, we can't say I dancing. Мы не можем сказать I dancing. Причастие не имеет такой возможности формировать вот столько предложений, потому что не имеет таких форм, не может описывать действия dancing. Только в такой форме причастия встречается причастие один. The gerund dancing, pay attention, the gerund has the same form as the participle, but they are translated differently. I like dancing, for example. Я люблю танцевать. Dancing, it is a gerund. Then the infinitive, to dance. I like to dance. Я люблю танцевать. And the infinitive has only such a form. It can't show an action. Infinitive тоже не показывает действие. So, the gerund. Let us consider each of them. The gerund is formed by adding the suffix ing and coincides in the form with participle one, singing, acting, speaking, smoking, and others. Gerund acts like nouns and can serve as subject or as objects of the sentences. There are no such form of the verb in the other languages. The gerund can be found only in the English language. Такой грамматической формы нет в русском языке, и герундий мы можем обнаружить только в английском языке. So, smoking, here are the examples. Smoking is harmful. Smoking is the gerund. It is the subject. It is in the function. The subject is smoking, and it is expressed by the gerund. Курение вредно. I like singing. Singing, in this case, it is an object, and it is expressed by the gerund. I like singing. Я люблю пение. Я люблю петь. Our duty is fighting for peace. So the gerund can be a predicative in the sentence. That is a part of the predicate. It can't be a predicate, but it can be only a part of the predicate. That is predicative. Наша обязанность бороться за мир. Fighting. It is a predicative. Here is a link verb. Fighting is a predicative, the part of the predicate, of the verbal predicate. Is fighting is a verbal predicate. So, I'm tired of rowing. Я устал грести. It can be preceded by a preposition. Also, this case shows us that the gerund has features of the noun. You know that prepositions are used only with the nouns. Здесь показывает, предлог of показывает, что это тоже признак существительного. Здесь тоже опять это подчеркивает, что герундий имеет и номинальные качества, поэтому даже сразу чисто визуально видно, что это герундий с инговым окончанием и имеющие признаки существительные. It can be preceded by a preposition. The participle. Причастие. The participle is formed by adding the suffix ing also, and it coincides in form with the gerund, but they are translated differently. Singing, acting, dancing, writing, sitting, and some other words. Practically all the verbs. Except the modal verbs can have such suffixes in the English language. They are translated поющий, действующий, говорящий и так далее. Работающий. Participle one is used in the functions of the attribute and the adverbial modifier. причастие 1 может употребляться функции определения и обстоятельства, разных обстоятельств. Here is the example. The dancing girls are our students. Dancing is an attribute, and it is expressed by the participle one, by participle one. Танцующие девочки, наши студентки, наши студенты. Arriving at the station, he called a porter. Adverbial modifier. Приехав на вокзал, он позвал носильщика. Здесь обстоятельства. She is sleeping. Present continuous. So participle one can be used in the present continuous tense, because this tense form is formed with the help of the auxiliary verb and plus participle one. She is sleeping. Она спит. Она спит. The infinitive, the only attribute of the infinitive is the particle to. Единственный атрибут инфинитива – это частица to. We use with all the infinitives the particle to. To stand, to sleep, to cry, to eat, and so on. Simple verbs are used with the particle to. There are a lot of phrases with the infinitives. They are called parentheses. Parentheses, that is, вводные слова. Очень много всяких фраз с участием инфинитива. To be honest. To be honest, честно говоря. To begin with, для начала. To tell you the truth. По правде говоря. To cut a long story short. Короче говоря. To get back to the point. Возвращаясь к сути дела. To put it another way, иначе говоря. All these words, all these parentheses can be used in the or in our oral speech, in our writing, and when we write essays also, and when we describe pictures during your examinations in task 44. Then the infinitive. Very often the infinitive is used with the particle. Usually the infinitive is used with the particle to, but there are some cases when it is used without the particle to. Let us consider some sentences. If there are two infinitives connected with and before the second infinitive, to is omitted. Если мы в одном предложении видим два инфинитива, рядом стоящие, связанные при помощи союза «и», то перед вторым инфинитивом мы не используем частицу «to». Here is the example. She decided to do and buy something for supper. We won't say she decided to go and to buy something for supper without to. Clear? After the verbs to be, to have, when these words are modal verbs. They are used as modal verbs. The particle to is used by all means. Very often I say, you are to do, you are to write, you are to listen and to understand. Вы должны сделать то-то, вы должны написать, вы должны сказать и так далее. Тогда, когда глагол to be или глагол have в модальном значении употребляются, тогда мы обязательно ставим частицу to. Here is the example. You are to meet them here. Вы должны их встретить здесь. After the words the first, the second, the last, the only, we use the particle. We use the particle to. He is always the first to come and the last to leave. После таких слов, как первый, второй, последний, мы всегда употребляем обязательно частицу to. The example shows he is always the first to come and the last to leave. Он всегда первый, кто приходит, и последний уходит. But we never use the particle to before the modal verbs, such as can, could, must, should, and some other modal verbs. We don't use the particle to. Here is the example. She can stay in the guest room tonight. Она может остаться в комнате для гостей сегодня ночью. Can, here is the modal verb, and after the modal verb, we don't use the infinitive or the particle to. The functions of the infinitive. Though the infinitive doesn't have the right to be finite, to be a predicate in the sentence, it has a lot of functions in the sentence. Here are the main ones. Let us start with the first one. The infinitive can be used in the sentence as the subject. To collect information in such conditions is difficult. Инфинитив может использоваться в предложении как подлежащее. В данном случае, пример посмотрите. To collect information in such conditions is difficult. Собирать информацию в таких условиях очень трудно. To collect, that is the subject, it is expressed by the infinitive with the particle to. Then predicative, that is a part of the predicate in the sentence. Это часть сказуемого в предложении. The plan was to go to the dean. План заключался в следующем: пойти к декану. The plan was to go. Was is the link verb, and to go is the predicate. The whole predicative is was to go. The part of it is a link verb, and to go is the part of the verbal predicative to go. It is a predicative. Then object, it can be used in the sentence as object. I hate to ask people such questions. Может употребляться инфинитив в качестве дополнения. I hate to ask people such questions. Ненавижу задавать людям такие вопросы. Ненавижу что? To ask. So it is an object and it is expressed by the infinitive with the particle to. It can be used as an attribute. The captain was the last to leave the ship. Was to leave. That is an attribute, and it is expressed also by the infinitive with the particle to. The infinitive can be also an adverbial modifier, any adverbial modifier, but in this case we consider the adverbial modifier of purpose, обстоятельства цели. Может быть обстоятельством, может быть каким-нибудь другим обстоятельством. В данном случае это обстоятельство места, цели. She put on her coat in order not to catch a cold. Not to catch a cold, чтобы не простудиться. С какой целью? Чтобы не простудиться. Not to catch a cold is the adverbial modifier of purpose, and it is expressed by the infinitive in the negative form. Not to catch a cold. Pay attention to the order of words. Обратите на порядок слов в отрицательных предложениях с инфинитивом, с частицей to, not to catch a cold. Parentheses. The infinitive can be used in the parentheses. Many parentheses contain the infinitives. Много вводных слов содержат инфинитив. To begin with, we have not enough money to buy it. Начнем с того, что у нас нет достаточно денег, чтобы купить это. To begin with, it is a parenthesis. Parenthesis, that is вводное слово. And the infinitive can be used in the infinitive constructions, different infinitive constructions. Objective with the infinitive construction, for example. I want him to read this text. В данном случае это сложное дополнение. Комплекс object называется в английском языке. I want him to read this text. Him to read – это сложное дополнение. Him – номинальная часть этого дополнения. To – вербальная часть этого дополнения. Him – номинальная часть выражена местоимением в объектном падеже. To read – вербальная часть выражена инфинитивом. And it can be used also in another construction, nominative with the infinitive construction. Here is the construction, to be waiting for. There are some other constructions, very complicated constructions we are to understand and to be able to use. Have plus object plus verb. Such a construction is used to show that one person causes another person to do something. Когда вот такую сложную конструкцию используем, когда какой-то человек заставляет другого человека делать что-то. The example: they had us clean the floor. Они заставили нас помыть пол. Another construction: have plus object plus verb with ing. It is used to refer to the results we are trying to achieve. Часто такое употребляется, чтобы обозначить какой-то результат, который мы пытаемся достигнуть. We'll have you dancing professionally in 6 months. Через 6 месяцев вы будете у нас танцевать, вы уже будете иметь такие способности. То есть здесь все выдается как свершившийся факт. Через 6 месяцев человек будет профессионалом, профессионально будет танцевать. And there is one more very complicated construction. Won't, can't, plus have, plus object, plus verb with ing is used to refer to something we disapprove of. Такую конструкцию используют, чтобы сказать что-то такое, что-то, что нас не устраивает, с каким-то раздражением. I won't have you sitting here and waiting when your best friend is in trouble. Я не могу тебя заставлять тебя здесь сидеть и ждать, когда твой друг в беде. Вот такие конструкции с инфинитивом существуют в английском языке. I'd like to give you a small task to use the infinitive form of the infinitive with ing to complete the sentences. This exercise is from your textbook. You may open them at page 174, if I'm not mistaken. Exercise 35. You are to use the infinitive form of the ing In brackets, to complete the sentences, in some cases, both forms are possible. В некоторых случаях обе формы приемлемы, могут применяться. The first one, please bring your passport, confirm, in brackets, your identify. Пожалуйста, принеси паспорт, чтобы идентифицировать личность. What do you use? With ing or with to? Of course, right, you are with to. Please bring your passports to confirm your identity. Right, you are. The demonstrators demanded, in brackets, set the prisoners free. So the demonstrators demanded what to do? To set the prisoners free. Демонстраторы требовали, чтобы освободили заключенных. To set, of course. The children had fun with their PC, that is personal computer. Дети забавлялись игрой на компьютере. Play is taken in brackets, and what do we use here? To or ing? The children had fun playing, quite right, playing with their PC. After all this hard work, I think she deserves. Girl is taken in brackets, on holiday now. После такой тяжелой работы, думаю, что она заслуживает отдыха, отпуска или каникул прямо сейчас. Deserves what? Going or to go, you may use both variants also. I want you, the color I want you to change. I want you to change. We can use both variants. No, I want you to choose. It is a complex object. Want you to choose is the complex object, and of course we may use only to choose. So, boys and girls, our lesson is coming up to the end. I would like to advise you to do this exercise from your textbook up to the end. And besides, I'd like you to do one more exercise, that is exercise 36. You are to express the same using the constructions. Our lesson is over. Boys and girls, you may be free, stay at home. You have a good chance to learn English, and I will be very glad if our lesson will be helpful for you. See you next time. Goodbye.